All right, so we're back with another, this is a much shorter video. So we are going to make some nice, I call them house shoe socks. So we're starting with our fabric. This is a very cozy, more of a acrylic wool. And then we have a measuring tape. We have our scissors, rotary cutter, either one can be used. I usually just put both of them in the video just in case. And then of course our marking pen. I might change the color just because the blue might not necessarily show up very well on here. And then of course I went out and got a whole lot more clips. These are definitely going to be my new thing, ditching the pins for now. So, okay, so first things first, this is the outline. This is basically like, you know, the shape that you're going to have. Now, the thing is, when it comes to shoes in general, it's best to put your weight down so that you kind of get a full fit. I kind of wish that, or I hope that that's what's going on when they're creating shoes, you know, for the rest of the world, because you have like bunions, you have the 2 feet that aren't necessarily shaped the same way or the same size. And then you have, of course, like the weight not being put on the foot, you know, so that does factor in when creating any type of shoe, house shoe, sock, whatever you want to call it. So that's what we're going to do with this. So this is going to be put on for me, and I'm going to trace around, also allowing for that seam allowance to kind of go all the way around as well, you know, about ½ inch or so, maybe a little more just in case, but tracing around for this shape. You can of course use your feet in socks, pick a shoe, you know, that you feel, or like a house shoe of some sort, and then using that to kind of create that nice shape around. If you want more of a curved fit, so you know what is left or right foot, then like I said, using your feet in a sock planted on a surface with weight on that foot is best. So I'm going to do that, and then go ahead and cut that shape out of the fabric. And that is, as you can see the stitch around here, you'll have one piece for the bottom, one piece for the top, and then you'll cut that hole from the top portion of the top. Now, because we're making socks, the easiest way to do this is of course to cut on the fold. So you'll have that shape here, and then basically the top of the foot or the toe would be on that fold area. So you have 2 pieces. You can fold over again on the fold with that starting cut. Place your shape here, of course, allowing for that seam allowance, kind of trace around, and you'll automatically have your 4 pieces. So it'll be a whole lot easier. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, so now we have our cool shapes. Now, I'm not Bigfoot. I have like regular size feet, so it's it's not going to be this big. But note that I am not using the sewing machine, though you are more than welcome to if you have just that and you don't have a serger. But I'm going to use a serger for this just because, again, I go off of a lot of the times what I already have and what it currently looks like. So the sock shoe or house shoe situations that are currently in my household do have the serger stitch. So because I have one, I will use one, especially to secure this very thick fabric. As you saw with me trying to rotary cut it, it's pretty thick. Also makes it perfect material for what I'm creating as well. So I have the cool shapes here. As you can see, it's connected at the top where the toes will touch up there. And then remember, the second portion is kind of getting that hole, you know, for you to slide your foot in. You can kind of imagine that, and then creating that area. So that is where the measuring tape comes in. So going around the widest part of your ankle is kind of where I'm at with creating this. So, yes. Little toe action there. So going around the widest part. So of course, like you see, it slims up, of course gets thicker at the top, but around this area, you don't want to kind of struggle to put the sock or the shoe thing on. So going to the widest part and then kind of getting that circumference will help. I kind of found something already in the house that is the circumference of my ankle. So funny thing, it's actually this container. retainer with the clips in it. Wonderful. So that is what I'm going to use to kind of create that whole area. And of course it stretches, so it won't be this cute circle, you know, this formal. It'll of course have that stretch and that, you know, uniqueness once it's put on, but you still need that circumference. So measuring around that, either finding something in your household or, like I said, doing the math and kind of seeing how wide you want that area. You can kind of eyeball it or get an exact shape if you like. So that's the next step. And then we'll go into that area for the band. So again, you get that circumference for your ankle for the circle, but you also need it to kind of get that area or that second stitch I talked about where you're going onto your ankle, like the band that goes around your ankle. So let's get the holes cut first, and then we'll talk about the ankle. Okay, so now for our ankle portion. So I did the same thing, kind of fold it over so that I had my two pieces already done. You will have that circumference measurement taken again, along with the measurement from, you know, the base of your ankle area where your heel is up to however high you want the sock to be. So ankle, calf, knee, etc. And that'll be your length by width of which you would cut. Now this fabric I found, even though it was nice and fuzzy and warm looking, doesn't necessarily have a good 4-way stretch. It's more of a 2. So I made sure that the area around my ankle, that is where my stretch measurement or length measurement would be, basically. So because I don't really have much here, that would be just where the base of the heel, you know, meets the top of where, and for me, it's just like right above my ankle. So I don't really need these to be like that high. Though in the future with this material, if I can find some more, then it would be great to use that. And the reason why it is kind of thick here is only because I'm going to actually fold it over and, like I said, create that band around my ankle. So let's get to actually stitching, because again, remember we just said 2 stitches. So we have our bands together now. Easy peasy. All right, so let's get to stitching now. So like I said, I'm going to use my Serger and start from the tip here where it's already connected via the way it was cut, and just kind of a seamless serge all the way around here, and then continue with the ankle area, ankle band, once we're done with that. And it'll basically be kind of stitch inside out the whole way, basically. So serging all the way around here first on both, and then we'll continue to the ankle band once we're done. All right, now it's time to connect the ankle band to the base. So we're actually going to turn this right side out. Cool. Then we're gonna give this, I do recommend a 4-way stretch fabric. This was very aesthetic and cute to look at, but it doesn't necessarily have, as I said before, that like full 4-way stretch. So, but luckily, like I said, I cut it a certain way to where most of my stretch is around the area where the ankle will wrap around anyway, so it makes it a little bit easier when it comes to stitching. So giving it as much stretch as possible. I'll also be kind of like pulling as I serge so that I can kind of have that leeway, so that when it comes back around, I can, you know, there'll be enough fabric to go around this kind of awkward circle area. So, and I actually haven't really used the clips too often for this project either. Again, it's a lot of, you know, like I said, the simple stitch around here or the serge, and then just this stitch kind of going around. The clips will kind of be in the way, so just kind of clipping it to begin with. And if you are serging it, actually, regardless of whatever stitch you're using, you can kind of start from the back end, hold it, clip it, whichever you prefer, and then that first pinch or pin down of this, you're holding it and then you're pulling every time you make another stitch, basically. So it's a little easier, you know, like I said, to more of a show and tell situation. So let's go over to the Serger machine. So remember to give that fabric a slight tug, just the portion where the ankle is going to be, not the bottom portion you're connecting it to where the foot is going to be, but the ankle portion, just a slight tug every couple of stitches to kind of make it so that your fabric goes all the way around. And as you can see, you know, when everything's right side out, as you can see with this other sock, see, nice, almost finished product. But like I said, when you're stretching the fabric, or at least when you stretch this kind of fabric, you see how much leeway you have left over, so you don't have to worry about like, oh, I'm not sure if I'll have enough to go all the way around. And if you had just left the fabric, or if I had left the fabric as is without the stretching, then I probably wouldn't. It wouldn't be able to kind of wrap all the way around. So by pulling and stretching slightly, you don't want to break the machine, then you kind of allowed yourself to kind of have that. So that final stitch, which will be kind of inside here to close everything up, you're making sure that you have enough fabric to do so. So, ooh, almost done. I love this. I love when things actually come together when I sew them. So let's go ahead and get that last stitch, and of course cutting that excess fabric off, you know, of course making sure you have enough now, because again with sergers, you know, you do tend to cut off, and I do want to cut off that frayed area anyway. So turning this back inside out. Looking at where I want to kind of end this up at, probably allow for a little more leeway just to make sure I can get my foot inside here when I'm all done. And then I'm going to cut that excess fabric off. Rotary quarter cutter, of course. All right, looks like we have our finished products. Beautiful. So these will definitely be nice and warm. Like I said, simple project, easy peasy, strong stitching. I did actually end up using the sewing machine for that final, well, attempted to serge. Did not go so well. Fabric's very thick. So maybe a cable knit, rib knit, or like I said, that 4-way stretch jersey fabric will be a little bit better. Of course, if you run across something like this, just know, you know, the serger works for maybe like 2 to 3 layers, but that 4th layer was a bit much for the, at least, you know, for my serger. So careful with the stitching. Don't want to break any needles like I did. So yes, we have our project number 4, 3 or 4, one or the other. So yeah, looking forward to more projects. I'm gonna clean these up, add these to my collection of winter footies, and looking forward to our next project. Thanks for watching.